motor has got to come out, and let me show you why. That is a big hole in the piston. It is time to find an engine. See if we can find a 390. Take a little look at what it looked like to begin with here. Pack rats, they stink. Coming from you what's inside the engine compartment, I am now the V8. I'm sorry, I'm retarded today. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to For Everything Outdoors. We are back on the 66 today. Today is engine day. Maybe not going in, but it's definitely coming out. So we need to get everything done. Nothing has been done yet, so we're starting right at the beginning in the yard. Get the coolant draining and start getting things disconnected. I'll grab some help here in a little while. We'll get this hood off of here and out of our way. And we're just going to do it the old shade tree way. We're going to throw a piece of plywood down, grab our engine hoist, and start cranking. All right. Stay tuned. We'll get this engine bay painted. When we get this engine out, we got to swap over some parts from this 360 to the 390. And see how far we get today. Cheers. Stick along. All right, while our antifreeze is draining, we're going to go up here to the top side. Start by getting this carburetor off. Get some of these parts moved out of our way. We're going to reuse this points distributor. Let's make sure it doesn't get damaged. Just going to lay it to the side. Fuel line to this carburetor has been stripped out by somebody, so we are going to take it off from below. Disconnect it from down there. Get this carb off, we'll get our lift plate on. Maybe by then the antifreeze will be done. And we'll start disconnecting, get this radiator out, give us some working room, and just keep cooking along. See how it goes. Look at this hose clamp central they got going on back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hose clamps. 7, 8. It's almost comical. Alrighty. Well, okie doke. Let's keep trucking along. Let's keep trucking. Mother trucking. Not really worried if stuff falls down in the intake because we're going with a different motor. Alright, we got this Amazon lift plate here. We'll see if it'll do the job for us. see if we can get the header bolts loose. Maybe stick a little wobble socket on. What do you think? Should we get a little wobbly? Let's get a little wobbly. This wobbly socket, it's just too wobbly. Let's put some tape on. Now there's one header bolt bit being stubborn, but it's coming little by little. Come on, bolt. Let's not spend all day on you. Doesn't have to all be about you. Come on. You can do it. For the love of God. Pull your bolt out of your head.
5 minutes later.
Almost there. And we got it. Alright. That header's free. Now over the other side. Holy smokes. Fighting me the whole way. Fighting me the whole way. Where are you at, little camera? We're down here. Where are you? Come on, little bolts. You can do it. Oh no, bolt in the grass. Very important bolt in the grass. Okay, all the header bolts are free. Alright, put you on time lapse while we start getting the radiator up. Cheers! Alrighty, we're gonna get this engine fan off. So we're not working around it. There's our fan, our water pump pulley. Putting it in the back of the truck. Alright, now I can let that out of our way, kinda. It's actually more in our way now. Alright, we have got the headers loose and the flange. Taking off the drive shaft now. We have wheel chocks in front of the tires. Let's not make that mistake. sure we get all of our washers. Don't have to go looking for new ones. Alrighty, we got to get the hood off. Got my lovely assistant, Sydney. Say hi. See if we can do this without hurting ourselves. How heavy this thing is, and we're going to go to the back of the truck with it. Not very heavy. Okay, we got the hood off. I got a chain rigged up. We'll may have to move that around, obviously. We're going to give her a couple of cranks and see if everything comes free. I'm a little concerned about the hump for the transmission still in, because I put the vinyl floor in not thinking, and it may come down to where I have to take the vinyl floor back out some to get the hump out so the transmission can rise enough to get over the cross member. But if that's the case, then I guess we'll deal with that. But for starters, we're going to try to give it a good angle and just see what will happen. I'm by myself. Who knows how this is going to go. Cheers. All right, well, worst case happened. I had to pull the interior back out just to pull the hump. Hopefully that gives us enough clearance now. We can get that wiggled out of there. But just need to help wiggle it around as I
go in,
go out. I'm going
Go
out
out.
with it. It just keeps getting snagged while I'm jacking it. I don't know if my jack is even going to get as high now. Good up top.
yeah.
Clear binding, 1, 2.
I think we can kind of pivot it around and lift up now.
Yeah. There we go. There.
Yeah, hold on, swing back.
Good old shade tree style, right?
Boy, howdy, I guess.
Pure determination.
On the street in front of your house.
What engine's this?
This is a 360.
Oh, okay.
It's got a hole in the piston. And I got 390 sitting over there.
How do you know it's got a hole in there?
Use an inspection camera.
Oh.
Pulled the plugs on it when I got the truck here, and that plug was just smashed and broken off. So I was like, So I borrowed that inspection camera from Jordan. Sure as shit, big hole in it.
Did you go through the exhaust or did
No,
you go
I just came through the
spark plug?
plug hole, yep. Yep, so I got to switch front mount oil canister, that engine because it has a side, and then this engine's a front mount, motor mount. That's before they did the side mounts, I guess, on this style. Or that it was just the 250 four-wheel drives that had the front mount. I don't know. Some do, some don't. All right.
Somebody broke your windshield.
Somebody broke that windshield, didn't they? Not bad for... Well, it should have been quicker. It took 3 hours to get it out.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
One person, my goodness.
Okie dokie, out with the old. Thanks to the help with some guys I work with that showed up at the perfectly right moment. We got that jewel out of there. Oh, I guess now is as good a time as ever to remove the master cylinder. Let's do some scraping. Get some of this grease cleaned up. And just kind of shoot it with some paint to help brighten out the hood area. Get this engine degreased and get it painted to, well, not this one, but the other one. We don't really need to degrease this engine. We need to degrease the transmission. Alrighty, we better keep after it. Cheers! Let's give that a few minutes to soak in, then we'll fire up the pressure washer, see if we can make it look like a new transmission. Doubtful. We'll give her at least a good cleaning. Meantime, let's grab our paint and see what we can do under the hood. Alright, now that we're coated in grease, we have our transmission semi clean. Could use a lot of scraping, but really necessary. We can put that on the 390 when we get a chance. Right now, let's get some paint underneath this hood. Let's get that drying. Good. Just kind of tack it a little bit. Cloth. It ain't gotta be perfect. We're not going for perfect. We're going for more better than it is. Going for more better than it is. Alright, she's definitely black. So, that'll probably do for under the hood. Then we'll come back when we do the paint job. We'll tape all this part off and repaint it the right way. And also we'll paint this. So for right now, we're just going to leave it because that will get taped off. This is just a quick under the hood paint so that we can move on to the next thing. All right, let's go pull that transmission off that 360. Get things set up underneath the lean-to so we can start swapping parts right next to each other. All right. We're up underneath this lean-to. Let's get this transmission off of here. Looks like we gotta pull that off first. Okay. There it is. Slide this transmission out of the way. Just as I figured, it's got a brand new clutch in it. Brand new throwout bearing. He went through all the trouble of put a brand new clutch, throwout bearing, pressure plate, looks resurfaced or new. And I guess that hole nut piston just ended the whole thing. So looking at the clutch that came out of the 66 that was on the 360, looks like prior to engine failure, it was just replaced. Looks like a new clutch and flywheel. It's even got some writing on it. So we're going to take this one off and stick it on the 390. Let's do that now. Alright, we got to take off the pulley so we can get the timing cover off. So all the slow stuff now. Pulling the engine's easy compared to the swapping everything over as far as time goes. It's tedious. There it is. One for the gasket. Stayed behind. That one happened. Okey-doke. Aside from the distributor cap, which I'm just leaving on there for the moment, I believe we've got everything we need off of the 360. If we don't, it won't be far. We'll go get it. Let's go get the 390 in here. Let's get it taken apart, and then it's probably going to be time to pick up tools. Alright, cheers. Alright, we got the 390 inside the lean-to here and on the hoist. We got to strip it down. We don't need much on it. The old 66 doesn't require a whole lot. Fuel, air, and spark. Let's get after it. Slowly but surely, we're getting her stripped down. And then we'll be trying to figure out what we do for gaskets and seals. And alright, we got the harmonic balancer off. Let's pull this timing cover. Alright, it is a new day, hence the change of shirt and change of hat and you name it. We got the timing cover. We're resuming switching out the timing covers because we have a front engine mount. While we were here, we inspected this timing chain. It appears to have been replaced. It's in good shape. It's nice and tight. It's a Morse. Don't know anything about Morse timing chains, so if anybody does, tell me if I made a mistake by leaving it in there or not. The other motor has a double roller, but it's kind of like a, you know, it's really good and it's there and it looks to be practically new, so why switch it out, right? We're going to get everything cleaned up on our timing cover. Let's get it prepped for gaskets. Let's drive a new seal in it. And let's just get it together today. Get our water pump back on. And see how much progress we can make and get this thing closed up for a little while. Okie doke. Won't bore you with making you watch me do that. I'll just come back to you when it's done. Cheers. Alright, we pulled the oil pan. We have pulled our sleeve off. We have put in our new seal for our timing cover. We scraped the oil pan, cleaned it all down, scraped the inside, inspected the crank as much as we could, kind of looked up in the pistons. Everything looks okay with the exception of one little thing, which is a little bit less desirable to see, but it is what it is. We're not going to tear this motor apart just for that. I think I got our gasket all ready here on our oil pan to set it up there and try to get it started with hopes that it seals. so that we can put our timing cover on and move on to the water pump. Just keep trucking along. All right, let's get this oil pan on. Alright, I got 4 bolts started for the oil pan. I'm going to go ahead and get all these bolts started and start tightening them down. Come back to you when that's done. We have our timing cover gasket in place. Let's see if we can set it on. I got a little bit of grease on the shaft, crankshaft, so that seal goes on. Let's see how many attempts this takes to get right. Hopefully just one. I will come back to you when we have this tightened up and save you the trouble of watching me tighten bolts. Or we could go shit, we snapped one off. It'd be our luck too, wouldn't it? Alright. Come back to you in a bit. Well, that was a little scary. I got all that oil pan on and that timing cover on. Then I couldn't get the bolts to start from the oil pan up into the timing cover. And I was worried that I didn't check the front mount cast iron timing cover against the aluminum one, that maybe they didn't line up. But what had happened is I had tightened the oil pan up snug, and doing so did not leave me any wiggle room with that gasket down there to get those bolts started. And the thickness of the new timing cover put it off just enough, so I had to go ahead and put the center mount on and tighten it down to draw it all in. All the bolts are in now. We're going to go through, snug them back up, and then we'll come to them again in a little while and just kind of double check them, make sure they're correct. Alright, update here on the status. We ran out of SD card, not sure when, at what point, so I'm going to go over what I have done. I switched over the cast iron front engine mount from the 360 to the 390. We went ahead and pulled our pan, cleaned it out, put on a fresh gasket for that, put our water pump back on. It's ready. We did do our front seal, replaced it, and we've got everything pretty well stripped off of the motor and a few little small items, and then we're gonna do a little quick paint on it. I'll leave the manifolds on because I'm not using them, and we'll just use those as our paint guide to keep from getting paint there. And I'm just leaving this distributor in there loose, so that I'd rather get paint on it than the one that's staying in it. Then when we're done with paint, we'll figure out our clutch, get our transmission back on, get our fuel pump back on, and get our oil filter on. And then our alternator. And then this thing is ready to go back in. Alright, let's see if we can get this decal off a little bit so we can paint over it. Cheers. Alright, we'll let that dry. Hit it with another coat tomorrow probably. And then we just got to put on a few items and it's ready to rock and roll. I like it. It's gonna look good in there. We will see you in the future. As you can see, we got the engine compartment cleaned up a little bit. Our master cylinder came, so we're going to go ahead and take advantage of the ease of standing in the engine bay. Let's get that put on, see what breaks so we can get stuff ordered to fix whatever lines twist off. I did order front brake hoses. They are wrong, so we got to send those back. But we'll get this put on today, hopefully, and then we'll get the engine buttoned up, get it ready to go back in. Cheers. Alright, so the bolts for the master cylinder are spinning all the way through. So my options are to take off the whole plate, or since they seem to be willing to come off, I'm going to make a little notch at the end of the bolt with the sawzall here and see if I can just stick a flathead screwdriver in the end of it and back the nuts off. Let's see what happens. There we go. I'll get you zoomed in on that and see if you can't see what I'm doing. So basically just kind of made it where I could stick a standard screwdriver on the end of the bolt so I can back the nut off. Let's give it a try and see if it works. Alright, I did it. Got both nuts off. I'd say that seal was gone. It just dumped all over me. Look at the gunk that came out of that. Okay, let's get that puppy set aside. Off with the old boot. Get it set on. For right now, we're going to go with the standard factory style master cylinder. It was super cheap, and it will get us to a point of where we can test some other stuff out and then decide which direction we want to go with our brakes. I didn't want to go to power brake setup just yet. I want to get everything worked out. Let's just establish that we have brakes and try to keep costs down and get this thing moving under its own power. Then we can come back and do brakes all the way through and through if they need it. This will at least get us going. We got to source some front brake hoses. One of the brake lines on the passenger side would not come loose from the front brake hose, and so it's going to twist the line. I'm going to have to cut that line, reflare it, and put another piece of line in. Not too bad of a job. But I want to try to get this brake stuff done so we can move on to the engine. I don't know what day we're going to do the engine on. I'm hoping real soon. And by real soon, I'm hoping tomorrow. That's what I'm really hoping. I'm hoping tomorrow. We won't get it running. We're waiting on parts. But the parts we're waiting on will not prevent us from putting it in. So let's start with that. Memorial weekend is coming up. And the feller would kind of like to have this thing running by then. At least where when them old fellers come over here, they're staying in the campground and go, boy, I remember when I used to have myself a nice 66 Ford. I bought her brand new. Only cost me $3,000. Had a 352 V8, 4-speed. I had her made, I tell you. That truck was a workaholic. That truck raised a family of 7 and bought a house and a farm, all before its first rebuild. Yeah, something like that. That's how that story's going to go probably. Memorial Weekend, we're going to stand around and talk about this truck. And then some old boy's going to come over and go, you know what's wrong with it? It ain't a Chevrolet. You already know it's coming. Just get in here with this wrench, or can he just sit here and fumble around for another 20 minutes or so? Somebody tell me something. I'm waiting. Couldn't be this easy, could it? Boy, putting a little notch on the end of that's working pretty good. Sure saved me a lot of headache. There, she's tight. Let's just get crossed up a little bit more here. What do you think? Alrighty. Okay, coming from you what's inside the engine compartment, I am now at the V8. I'm sorry, I'm retarded today. I gotta take a break and go de-winterize a couple of cabins. We got some guests coming in tomorrow. Cheers. Alright. So, we got that cabin taken care of. Let's get back after it. We've gone as far as we can go on the brakes. We got to find some front brake hoses. It's kind of a weird style. I did a quick search online. I'm not coming up with nothing. Keep looking into it. Got the master cylinder on there. So I figured we change gears. Let's get the fuel pump on and let's get the oil filter housing on this engine. I went ahead and I got the pulleys sanded and a fresh coat of paint on them drying now, so we can get the harmonic balancer on and start kind of dressing up this engine a little bit, get it closer to go in. Alright, let's clean up our surface for our fuel pump. Alright, we got our fuel pump set in. Let's get our oil filter housing on. Keep moving. Alright, so I just finished swapping over what I need from the 360 engine and putting it on this oil filter housing. And this oil filter housing lets the oil filter just come straight down, which fits between the frame rails of that four-wheel drive. All I had to do was just switch over some stuff, and then I added a line for another oil pressure gauge while I was at it. So let's get this put on. All right. Oil filter housing is on. And I guess now let's finish up painting our balancers, our fan. Try to get our balancer on. We've got it at top dead center right now. And let's see what else we can take away at. Get this transmission on soon, maybe. Alright, so the battery died. Midway is attaching the transmission. But it is on, secured, and ready for installation. I just kind of put the headers on to make sure everything was kind of line up. They're just hanging there for just to see them. Same with the pulleys. They're just sitting on there. I'm going to take that harmonic balancer inside tonight, and I have a little etching tool, and I'm going to re-etch the timing marks on it so that they stand out a little better. But today's work is done. Fuel pump put on, oil filter housing put on, accessories for the oil sending unit and the thermostat have been put on. Got the brake master cylinder on today. And that's going to be it for today. We will see you in the future. Cheers. We're going to go ahead and put our starter on outside so that we're not fighting that. It's just easy. And then I believe we are going to try and set it in using the tractor. That gives us a little bit more lift. It's not going to be as precise, but our engine hoist doesn't quite go up high enough to get the tail shaft of the transmission to clear the radiator support. So let's get our starter on and let's get this puppy in there. Cheers. There she is. She is sitting in. We got our engine mount bolt on the front. We got to wiggle the transmission around till we get her back two on. Then we tighten her down, start hooking things up. Woohoo! We forgot one major detail. The right side header has to go in halfway through. Shit! Well, we had to lift the engine back up to get that header in. Now we're working on motor mount bolts, Hopefully they go in without spinning, which I think we might be already. I could use the impact on here, but I'd rather feel it out because I don't want to ruin these suckers. It's going. Back ones were real bare. I did not want to line up, but I didn't want to bore you with that tedious task. Let's get these motor mounts in and then let's just start putting stuff on. Let's start with ground wire. Clutch linkage, the hardest is the clutch linkage probably. Get that sucker lined back up and then we'll get that header on. Passenger side header. Let's try to get all our underneath stuff done, I guess. Seems like a good spot to start. Maybe take a break in between just to give our neck a rest. All right. Let me find the clutch linkage parts. Getting our clutch linkage on, putting the clip in. We gotta tighten the bolts. If I could get the clip in refumbled. Get in there, you little turd. Pushing against myself. Come on. There it is. All right. I see a ground wire that needs attached somewhere to the block. And we need to figure out our clutch spring. We need to tighten those bolts before we get too far. All right. You won't be able to see nothing, so I'm going to turn the camera off, do that. I'll come back to you when we get to something you can actually watch. Cheers! Alright. We're working on getting this header. Alright, working on getting this header set in. Get our gasket on. Hope we got the right gaskets. Oh, we'll address it when we get there. Manifold side. It says hopefully these gaskets will seal up. Well, at least I have an audience. Okay, so manifold or headers are on, ground wires on, starting to work on the top side, doing the alternator to start with. I think I have about had a heat stroke out here. I have been just rushed to try to hurry up and do this. And in that, I didn't drink and eat anything. So, let's get this alternator on. Let's get the carburetor set on so we can check our linkage. We need to get our distributor switched out. Just keep cooking away. Cheers. Alternator. Figure it out the best we can. There's the wind. Put something over that. It's gonna be blowing like that. Don't want nothing going down in there. Trying to remember how everything went after over a month. I'm not even sure if this is the right bracket. I got two of them. I'm going with no. It's not the right bracket. Oh, I see the problem. I see the problem, Gumbo. God, these dang sheep, man. Somebody come take these sheep and take them to some greener pasture for me. Come on. They are very unhappy. And they can't go up to our pasture because we got a coyote problem going on. So we got to get that resolved before they can go up to pasture. Let's check that for fit, and if that's the way, we're going to shoot some paint on it. Because I don't want everything else to be all shiny and that be rusty. That looks better. Yep. Alright. Slap a little paint on that. While we're slapping paint on, letting that dry, we'll grab our distributor and get it stabbed. Okay. All right, we got our new gigantic cap, GM style HEI distributor. Let's get our other one out. Let's check them, make sure they look good and they're both the same. Now, I got it at top dead center, so we should, let's see here, let's take our cap off and get our distributor rotated to where we want it. We're aiming for the rotor. Pointing at the number 1 cylinder. Come on. Always gotta be one, doesn't there? Find our standard. Okay. Let's just go ahead. Disconnect that. Set. be pointing at number 1 with their vacuum advance pointing straight out. Everything tight on these things. Not gonna screw me over. Okay. Let's check them. Make sure they look appropriate. Looks like it is a match. Okay. Now, pointing at number 1. May take a few pokes. Uh-oh, I see a problem already. It doesn't look like we're going to clear that fitting. Got to try to give that just a little spin. All right, let's try this again. Go back this a little. Let me rotate just a little bit. We're not. There we go. That's good enough. It's not exactly number 1, but we'll know exactly where it's pointing. Live with that. Let's get our hold down on. It's getting cloudy. Please don't rain today. All right, let's see if we can get our alternator on now. And I am slowing down because I am reached the point of where my back is hurting now. We don't even know if this alternator is any good. We never ever able to test it. Attach it easily. Alright, I'm going to take this top hose back off and stick a spring in it. Keep it from collapsing. It's not an exact fit, but it should get us by. And as you can hear, the sheep are still severely unhappy. After I give them hay. But that's what we're fixing to work on. Ooh, that was close. Didn't see that nut sitting there. Let's get all these back on there. Get down on it. Get down on it. Check our base settings here. Let's try that. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and test fit our belt. All right, we're going to attempt to put the hood on by ourselves. Wish I had help. Son of a monkey. Oh my goodness, that was a bear. And that still ain't adjusted. All right, hood's on. This is where we're stopping at today. Sure looks good underneath there. Got to get this hood painted, the rest of the firewall. Alrighty, that's a wrap for today. Just clean up tools, another day, evening, we'll start dealing with electronics and fuel. Cheers. All right, welcome back to the future here. So, update. Let's get you all called up because a few things have been done with the camera not rolling. I've had to take the opportunity a few nights and work on it, and couldn't film when it was that low of light. So, let's catch you up. We have pretty much, I believe, everything is hooked up. We're gonna go over, double check. We've not put oil in it yet. We've not put an oil filter on it yet. We have a fuel line ran. We have a fuel filter in place. We have the fuel tank drained. I took the sending unit out, did an inspection of the inside. Everything looks pretty good inside the tank. Having a camera malfunction here. All right. So we pulled the sending unit off, we looked inside that tank. It looks good. We drained the fuel. We have 10 gallons of fresh fuel to put in. We have run new heater core hoses, all new clamps on everything, new belts, new hoses, radiator, top, bottom. We have a new little valve here. I found it with the truck. It replaced the one that was in it exactly like it that wasn't working. We have our starter disconnected for this moment because we were working on the HEI coil. We wanted to make sure we weren't starting this thing up just yet. We have our lines. We ran all new wiring. We went right back to the key, ran new wiring as much as we could for the oil sending unit. We have a manual oil pressure gauge and a new lead for the HEI. We have our hood mounts on and we have our hood on. I think we ended the video last time with that. Our distributor is sitting here loose, ready to start with timing. Inside, we have put the interior back together. We have our shifters in. We have our gauges in a temporary location. I don't know if I'll leave them there forever or not. We have a tack. We wired the tack up. It should be working. It had a fuel gauge in it, but it was in a different location. We redid all the wiring to it and checked it. It appears to be working. We'll see if it comes up when we put fuel in it. For the HEI coil, there was the wire coming off of the ignition, and it was the resistor wire, so we just did away with the resistor wire, went straight to the ignition switch. We have 12 volt in the on position, 12 volt in the start position. That should be good for our coil. We will check that to make sure it stays. And I think I am not missing anything. We have all the exhaust hooked up. Shifter linkages are hooked up. Clutch pedals hooked up. Brakes. We have brakes. Our throttle pedal broke, but we still have the rod. We may do some clutch adjustment, figure out where we want it to engage. Seems like it's working good. We put a fan shroud in. We had that given to us. It came with the motor from that 75. I really think we are ready to throw oil and antifreeze in it. We're going to leave the coil disconnected. We're going to spin it over a few times and see if we can't get fuel brought up. make sure our fuel pump is working, make sure we are getting some oil. Hopefully it'll show a little oil pressure after cranking over. And if those two things check out, I think we're going to plug the coil in and see what happens. So let me get some oil in it and some antifreeze, and we need to figure out a line for this PCV valve before we start it. We don't want to be blowing oil. Let me get some oil in it and some antifreeze, and then we will see where we're at after that. Alright, this is going to be the first attempt at fire. We have not tested anything yet. We're going to prime the system first with coil disconnected.
Did you just buy that new gauge thing?
Oil? Yeah, for oil pressure and
Look how all over. Looks like it's got
okay.
Some of these really stupid places.
my Eleanor's in a trunk. Because there's no room in the engine compartment because that coyote motor takes up the whole compartment.
Alright. So we're just going to be cranking right now so that we bring fuel up to the carburetor. Hopefully the fuel pump works. And get some oil lubricating and stuff. Tell me if that distributor cap's too deep. Live coil, and we'll put a little fuel right down the carburetor and see if it'll well, if it'll even just hit off a little bit, it'll help maybe prime it.
Got ether?
I don't want to put no ether in this engine. Jesus Christ.
I hate this motor. Why the hell they did away with just freaking regular rubber hose on the end of this sons of bitches?
What am I going to do to get just a little tiny splash of fuel in there?
Do you have a cup out here? Beer can?
You have a beer can.
Cut the top off, rinse it out. I mean, that's redneck. That's redneck. Finger. Sorry. I know you're excited, but I don't want you.
A nice little woof woof sound.
I'm gonna leave it right there. Because I think today it just needs more fuel. I knew it was gonna do that. I knew it.
Needs a little tiny.
Needs a little time. I knew it was gonna do that. Give me some smoke out.
Still not seeing.
Should jet it at least a little
I'm
bit.
not seeing anything. Where's the? It's nice that it's building oil pressure just on cranking. Half turn. That's 2 turns full out. That shouldn't need to go any more past that theoretically.
A little bit. Smoke on the water. Fire in the sky.
Are we sure we're getting fuel? Oh yeah,
Squirting. Is it?
we're squirting.
I'm gonna say it has to be getting. Sparky. What's the truck's name? There you go. Ah, come on, big guy. I'm gonna. Okay, I moved it an 8 3/16 forward. We're ping-ponging from a cheater. Turn your light on. Put your vacuum advance back on.
Why will it still not idle?
I think your idle screw needs to be tighter. Just turn.
Screw these in a half a turn each. Let's go back a little lean. There we go. Okay. We need to get that timing light set up and start figuring out where it's sitting on time. All these plug wire, I mean, it seemed like that there's a miss there. I can't hear the other side exhaust if it's going the same thing. Pup, 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 pup. Is it doing it on that side?
How much can you advance your idle? Like a lot more?
Yeah.
Did you mess with that at all?
I just kind of base set it. There, yeah, I watched the pedal before.
Because it's definitely dying when you let off the gas. Turned it another turn.
Which one?
The idle screw. Oh, that sounds fine back here.
Got an exhaust leak?
Yeah, I heard that.
Hate exhaust. Oh, there it is. Well, we got an exhaust leak to fix. We got to work on this idling.
Dude, I turned that idle screw in about 5 turns. That's how. This is because it wasn't even moving your. Like I was watching you set off. Yeah.
Oh, it's just coming out the radiator. Never mind. You hear that fan? I'm gonna have to put a damn water pump on this thing.
Remember we said about that thing being. You asked me, is that normal? You shouldn't have wobbled it. I told you. Turn that idle up just a little bit.
Yeah, it needs to come up just a hair. Sure.
That's out there. I think it even get the hair full.
Dang it. Doesn't have to fix that exhaust or
Doesn't work. Doesn't sound like it's ready for manifold, does it?
Yeah.
New gasket. Oh, did you? Maybe you don't have to write it out. You like your idle there? You want to good with that?
Yeah, we want to have at least a few degrees of. We're at 5 degrees advanced now. A little bit more.
Ooh, that sounds better.
Yeah. Except for that water pump. That's 10 degrees advanced timing. Okay, now we should be able to back that. Damn, that water pump is horrible.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I can turn it down a little.
We're at 10 degrees advanced timing right now. Let's hold on.
I only went a quarter.
Okay. Yeah, we're at about 10 degrees advanced timing.
Just a smidge over 800.
Pretty good.
That sounds good.
Except for that.
We haven't turned it yet. Here, quick as that.
Let me get the back of the keep an eye on that radiator. We probably don't want it shut though, do we? Or well, it's going to be spewing.
Spew out of here.
Yeah, that way it doesn't go anywhere.
Let's come out of there.
Wait, what? I mean, it's like, that sucker's smooth.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's not vibrating or
It actually sounds really good.
all good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's try to reap up Black King. Let's go. We're leaving. Yeehaw.
Didn't like that, did it?
Yep. They usually don't. me.
So we want 0.
Vacuum?
Yeah. What happens if we give it a go out? You went back. Did you touch those again?
No, I just took them in half like you told me to.
Nothing.
Change your idle. Actually, don't you have to have the cover? Don't you have to have the cover on?
The air filter?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we get it closed. Okay. There's 0. Now let's play with the timing.
Dude, I don't think I would. Go back and listen to it.
No, let's give it a little timing. My way. Think. Okay. Just a touch more. We're almost at 15. That's what we're looking for. There you go. We're right between, we're at about 14 degrees.
You're running 500 RPM, which is good.
And we can give it a little bit more here now.
Man, I think it sounds good. Leave it at 500.
Okay. There, that got us closer to 15.
We're right at 600.
Let's check that vacuum advance. Well, we don't have circulated. I don't know how much we should get rid of.
How much water you have?
Well, I think under pressure.
Full.
That's 200.
That's nothing. Give her some gas. See what she does. The back pressure. I don't know if that's supposed to be fucking air.
Yeah, let's check the timing. It also doesn't have the vacuum advance with we're at about 14 degrees timing. We want to be close to 15 because we got 15 mechanical and 15. And we're at 0.
I love these big fender wells.
Yeah.
Put your lid back on.
Yeah. It should be all right. We got to tighten that distributor down, or it's got to keep moving.
because I was here. I'm the good luck charm. If we could only have caught that sheep, we'd have done this an hour earlier. Yeah.
It runs. It's got an exhaust leak. I can try tightening those bolts down a little more because I did just tighten them with a 1/4-inch ratchet so that I didn't risk
Oh, then that's probably what it is.
chaos.
I'm not leaking anything other than when I just opened the radiator cap.
Oh, these got pressure, so it must be cycling through that.
Through the heater core.
Has to be, right? I mean, you never know what you're dealing with these old jewels until you...
And that shit is sweet. No wonder dogs drink it.
I think we're looking good. We got 0 vacuum at idle. Our advanced is about 15. It seems to take throttle.
Yeah, no, it's not.
We can play around with a little bit more, but
Drive it a little bit first.
I think you could set a nickel on it. It wouldn't fall over. The sucker is sitting there purring. I don't like the damn frick fact that I have to do a water pump job again.
Is it still leaking? Oh no, you gotta do the, yeah. Because the bearings.
Isn't that some shit? You
know
just
what?
never know.
I'd run it for now. Do it later. Do it this winter.
I took a gamble. Took a gamble by using what was on it, assuming.
Yeah, well, I mean, those bearings might be like that for a year and you'll be fine. You tightened that steer down?
I did. Let's clean everything from behind the tires and let's see if the clutch works. What do you think?
It's your truck, man.
I mean, wouldn't that be what you did?
I'd already been driving it. As soon as it started idling, I'd already been gone. See ya. Went down my F40.
I gotta get Cindy. Going. It runs! Alright, let's see if it, we don't even know if it will move under its own power. She had to flop in.
That's alright.
Will it move? Does the clutch work?
Does the door work?
Honeymoon couple on their way. Get her done.
Now I know why they put on armrests.
Shoot that thing.
Man, it just fires right up.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's try it.
See if it goes in reverse.
Do you know what reverse is?
Yeah.
Away we go.
thing on the front.